Hi, welcome to Salt and Burn This. I'm Sammy.
And I'm Valerie.
And this is our Supernatural Rewatch podcast.
Each week, we're going to break down an episode in order with lots of details, so nothing's left out.
And we throw in some personal nuggets and stories and research to mix it up just a little bit.
Because not only are we fans of the show, but like Sam and Dean, we've also had our fill of road trips.
Yeah, but for theater, not for hunting ghosts and demons.
And not in a super sexy muscle car.
Anyway, shall we?
We shall.
Hello friends, welcome back. This is part 2 of season 5, The End. So just a reminder, we did split this episode up into 2 parts because we spoke for so long and it was just such a juicy episode, and with the commentary we didn't want to really edit that much out. So last we left our heroes, and in this case our heroes mean Dean and Dean, were hashing it out in a shed about 5 years in the future. Future Dean is leaving on a mission and is leaving past Dean locked up in handcuffs because he cannot trust himself, which is reasonable. So that's where we're going to pick up from, and enjoy this part 2.
So in the time that Future Dean has gone on his mission, Handcuffed Dean is able to pull a nail out of the floorboards to then pick the lock of his handcuffs. And I was like, holy shit, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I can't even that's pull a splinter, dedication. Let alone work a nail out of the floorboard. Yeah.
Can you imagine like the
patience,
the tearing up of your
the
fingernails,
dexterity,
and fingers that you had to do, all the splinters.
Yeah.
So there was just more in the commentary. There was a lot of praise, deserved praise, for Jensen's performance here, because he did have 2 jobs to do. You know, he had to be Dean, and then he had to be this kind of imagined future Dean who is like not really the same.
Salty Dean, yeah, a little bit more.
Yeah, like more truncated,
edgy,
more hard, has lived in a really dangerous place for 5 years. So he had a lot of work to do. Yeah. And Bob and Ben said they both went to Jensen and was like, wow, this is amazing what you just did. Look at this like great performance and piece of acting you just did. And Jensen was like, great. Please don't ever do this to me again.
Please don't make me play my character.
Which plus I do not blame him for.
I mean, there were subtleties, and the fine line is not having the audience hate either one of the Deans. You couldn't just hate. You couldn't be like, this is my Dean and that this is fake Dean. You had to have.
No, they're both real Dean. It's not.
They're both
like
real
a
Dean.
Shapeshifter Dean or anything. It's both him.
Yeah.
But one is definitely different because he's had
more exposure to the violence and to the hopelessness of their situations.
Yeah, but to have to act against that would be so hard and weird, because usually you have a playing partner, you know, if he has Jared, you know, it's just like him and Jared, you know, playing off of each other. But here he had to play off of himself, and you know, he's like, I had to remember how I did it the day before as young Dean, and now I'm older Dean, so you know, I'm just constantly having to remember that. And they did hire an actor to stand in who was he was tinier than him, so they had to like put shoulder pads in his jacket, you know, to make him look like he was actually bulky. But then because he was an actor, then he was trying to act with him.
Yeah, and they're like,
this is actually not working for me. So then they brought in his stunt double, who can just at least stand and physically be Jensen. So I thought that was interesting.
It's funny that they didn't go with that first.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's a union. Honestly, it could have been like a union thing, like, oh, you know, the stunt union, if we have to bring him on as an actor, it could be
Well, yeah,
different.
so maybe
I
it's
don't know the lines with that. I know how it is in theater and how like
yeah, no,
delicate
absolutely.
those lines are,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I mean, it's like
um
you can't have a stagehand go out on stage in costume.
right,
They can go out
right.
in their show blacks and you don't have to pay them extra, but if you put them in costume, you have to pay them extra.
Yeah, yeah. And
So,
I know from listening to the Office ladies, they were always talking about, background actors versus title characters versus extra characters, that's
yeah.
all the different kind of pay scale. So
Yes.
that's
Bit roles,
probably,
solo roles. Agma does the same thing, and
yeah,
it's
yeah,
maddening. It's
it
maddening the
is.
definitions.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes sense. It also makes sense that, you see stunt characters and stand-ins go on to then be characters and actors in the show,
Yeah.
because it's just a progression,
Mm-hmm.
that if
Mm-hmm.
they've already anyway,
And I
it's
think it was, I know I'm like getting stuck on this, but it is a very interesting topic. In Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I don't remember Nicholas Brendan. He's got a twin, right? The guy who played
yes.
Xander Harris has a twin,
Yeah, he has a
and
twin
there
brother.
is
Yeah.
one episode where he got split apart into two personalities, so his
Hmm.
twin would like come play. So he did have like a real life stand-in person next to him. It
Yeah.
wasn't that camera trick where they do the two
Right.
people. But whenever it was a speaking
It was
part,
Nicholas Brandon.
it was Nicholas and not his twin.
Yeah.
And I do believe his twin was his stunt double after a period of time. Like then he just turned into his stunt guy or stand-in guy. But I do think that was because of, the twin. I don't
Unions.
remember
Yeah.
his name. Yeah, he wasn't technically an actor. So
Yeah.
if he
Same thing
said
with Linda
any lines,
Hamilton
he would have
from
ching 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 ching.
Yep, exactly. Linda Hamilton's twin from Terminator 2. She plays Sarah Connor in the end.
Mm-hmm.
When there's two of them on screen.
Uh-huh.
When one of them is quote the Terminator being Sarah Connor, it's her
Yeah.
twin.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, all right,
How
it's cool. You
handy
can
to have a twin, as
yes,
an
right. I'm
actor.
sure the film industry loves that.
They probably do because it's like, oh, great, we don't have to do all these visual effects.
Right?
Okay. So he gets left behind, he pulls himself free. Okay, and
Yep.
as he
And
pulls himself free and runs outside, he runs into Chuck.
Chuck
Yay, Chuck is there.
is there, and he's in
Part of the
charge
team.
of yeah, but
Supplies.
he's like supplies, exactly. Exactly. And while he's talking to Chuck, he gets accosted by Risa,
Yes.
which is the Lexadoy character.
Uh-huh.
And she takes a swing at Dean and then tries to knee him in the balls. And she's your standard stereotypical, put out female because Dean supposedly spent the night in somebody else's cabin,
Yeah.
even though she had, a connection with the Risa character. So she's an angry, combative, survivalist female.
Just
So
mad at him for being a horn dog.
yep. And stupid Dean.
The crew also gave a shout out to Rob Benedict. They loved him, like any excuse to put Rob Benedict in an episode. And they said, there's something really operatic and Woody Allen about the neuroses that he plays, which is like...
Well, it is funny that he's, the
supplies guy.
Supplies guy, and he has
Yeah, he's
nothing
not
to
a
do with
fighter.
anything. No. No, in fact, he gets left behind.
Yes.
when they go off fighting. Which
He's
I was like, huh.
So, on to Cass's orgy.
Oh man, of all the things for Cass to like morph into, some hippie, cult-ish
Yes.
leading of like women are just sitting and listening to him and fawning, and he literally ends his meeting by saying, "Okay, ladies, go wash up for the orgy."
Yes.
So Dean, after leaving Chuck, goes to find Cass. comes into this little cabin that is all decked out in,
it's
hippie,
like a hippie guru den.
Little love tent, yes. Yeah. And Cass is leading a little seminar on hippie things.
Yes.
And ends with, because he sees Dean, so he wraps things up and he says, all right, ladies, I'll see you in a little bit. Go wash up for the orgy. The look on Dean's face is like, when he hears orgy, he's like, ooh.
Yeah.
It's very comical.
Yeah. So there we had a lot, back to commentary crew. They had a lot of directions that Cass could have gone in for this. Like, what can we do with Cass, they say as they rub their hands together, and apparently Misha is a big fan of like gangster movies and kind of the Rat Pack. So for a minute he could have been like a Dean Martin kind of character, a big lovable drunk. Not too far where they ended up, but instead of Dean Martin, they decided to go with, in their words, Sting. Just like a very much like a love guru.
Tantric love guru. Oh my gosh.
And they even said, well, Misha kind of comes from what did they say? They phrased it very interestingly, like an alternative culture or counterculture household. Okay. So I guess this is not too far off from his upbringing.
Well, he's kind of huggy, crunchy granola.
He's a very granola guy.
I mean,
poetry.
Who goes into Tibetan throat singing? I mean, that's
yes.
that's a special character. It's a special lifestyle.
That's definitely a special skill, a very specialized skill to have on your resume. But Misha did an amazing job with, again, being somebody completely different, but still had to have that underlying trait of Castiel. Himself.
Yeah. Although it was interesting because what comes up next in this conversation, because now that Cass and Dean are alone in the cabin, Cass looks at Dean and is like, wait, something's different. He's like, you're not Dean. Yeah. And Dean is like, right, I am from the past. I've been thrown to the future. And so I'm like, so Cass is different than other people in the future because Cass still has abilities, I guess, even though it turns out that we learn that over time he has lost his angelic mojo, as he says.
Yeah.
Because Dean is like, great, it's you, zap me back. I don't want to be here anymore. I've learned my lesson. Let's, zap me back. And Cass says, I actually can't.
No can do.
And he's like, are you, and then what does Dean say? He's like, are you high? And Cass is like, most of the time. Yes, generally, yes, I am. But I just thought that was interesting that even through his change, even, his progression, he still recognizes Dean.
Yeah, he recognizes there's a residual angel power there. Yeah. Whatever it may be, he can recognize, oh, this is Dean from 5 years ago and not the current Dean that I usually speak with. Yeah. So yeah, it is interesting. And they never quite explain how, again, a little bit of a spoiler alert within the same episode, he does become mortal, but how does he still hang on to some of these powers?
Intuitive. Maybe it was just his intuition because he's so connected to Dean that he's just like
so high he can see like the aura,
right? Oh my gosh.
All right, so as they're speaking in the tent, older Dean returns from his mission. He's starting to celebrate with his team, throwing beers across the board. They're opening them. Yeah, wahoo, we did it. And all of a sudden, just shoots one of his teammates dead.
Just shoots him in the head. Boom.
And younger Dean tries to stop it. He sees it happening. He's like, whoa, whoa, whoa,
whoa, whoa, whoa. Yep.
A, too late, and B, he's now revealed himself to the team, which everyone is like, WTF is going on? And even older Dean is like, yeah, I know, WTF, but you'll learn about it when I'm ready for you to learn about it.
Yeah, yeah. In the meantime, you, over here, let's talk.
Yes.
And I mean, he has younger Dean tries to get older Dean to explain, why did you just shoot that guy? You shot one of your team cold-blooded. And older Dean is like, you don't know what we've been going through. This is every day. Every day somebody gets infected, and every day we have to kill somebody. I saw the signs that he had been, infected, and that's why I killed him, rather than say to this guy, hey, guess what? You have been infected and you're going to die this terrible death.
Yeah.
So I just did it. It was, a mercy killing, essentially.
Right.
But I think younger Dean still, he buys it, but he's still like,
not really okay with it.
Yeah.
But I do see future Dean's reasoning, just hey, completely get it over with rather than give him this terrible news first,
right.
with the anticipation knowing, oh, crap, I'm going to have to die, either shoot myself or
I want it to be
Croat.
Yeah. Yes.
Croat zombie.
And Dean basically says, or older Dean is like, it's not your time, it's mine.
Yeah.
And this is how we do things in my time.
Yeah.
So, and then proceeds to pour himself a drink.
Yes.
So Dean has a scotch with himself. The mission that he was on, that they just came back from, was to find and retrieve the cult.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he succeeded, because he pulls out from his backpack the cult. I'm like, well, that's a bit glossed over. How handy right. That he went to go get the cult, and there the cult was, and now Dean has the cult.
Yes.
It's been gone for how many years, being passed through the hands of whichever demons, and somehow it, got away from Lilith and is now in Dean's hands. I was like, well, that's convenient.
I know, and the commentary guys were like, some people just never want to see the cult again. Meaning the audience. I guess the audience was just like, we're done with this stupid gun.
Yes, it did its thing.
Yes, but it's kind of split, it seems. And they did say some more stuff, but I'm going to save this for future episodes because these are spoiler alerts in the future season, and I will try and remember to save them for those episodes.
Yeah, so Dean's like, tonight I'm going to kill the devil. So yay, they have a plan.
That's the plan. Yep.
That's the plan. Gonna go kill the devil. So now we go to planning the plan. He's got the team together, and is explaining that he knows where Lucifer is going to be, because a demon that they came across told him where Lucifer's going to be. And Risa's like, well, that's convenient that this one particular demon just happens to tell you where Lucifer is going to be. And somebody else points out, well, Dean is the king of getting information from people, i.e. torture.
And younger Dean is not cool with that. And he's like, no. Do you know how much trauma we've had?
Right. Yeah. People.
Torture, you're just going to jump back into it?
Yeah. Don't you remember, people are, inhabited by demons? You're torturing the person, not the demon. And no, okay.
Again, future Dean is a little like, again, my time, not yours. Deal with it. This is the way I do things.
But Cass, in the meantime, is kind of like, and siding with younger Dean. And it's like, what? I like this guy. I like this guy a little bit better. Okay. All right. Sorry. I go back to being your lackey. I
wrote down, like, everyone is pretty skeptical about this plan that it will work, but they're still on board. They still, at the end of the day, say, what are our orders? When do we go? Tell us when and where.
Fearless leader.
A little reluctantly, but they still do it.
Well, one of the questions they raise, because, Dean lays out this plan, and somebody says, well, why do both Deans go?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And Dean's like, you don't need to know, but he's coming with.
Mm-hmm.
And even Dean is like, hey, like younger Dean says, hey, wait, why am I going?
Why? Yeah.
If I die in this ambush or whatever it is, then you don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And, everything's a failure. And older Dean is like, got it covered. You're still coming with.
Yes. I think older Dean probably knows, since he knows that Zachariah brought him there, he probably is assuming that he is under a sort of protection from Zachariah. Yeah. He's like, no, Zachariah brought you here for a reason. He's not going to let you die. He just wants you to see something, and I want you to see something, because you know what? Sam didn't die in Detroit. He said yes to Lucifer. So now Lucifer has his
Vessel.
destined vessel.
Yeah. And that's like a huge like bucket of cold water.
Yeah.
He's like, I want you to see something. What do you want me to see? Oh, it's Sam.
Our brother. Yeah.
Yeah. Is being warned by Lucifer to the prom or whatever. And I was like, God, man, you are cold. You are just cold. But he does say again, he's like, we have to kill him. Yeah. Doesn't say I have to kill him. We have to kill Sam. That's the only way to get rid of Lucifer is to kill Sam. And this is the weird part about this for me. Older Dean is lecturing younger Dean on why he has to see all this and experience all this.
Yes.
I'm like, so older Dean has clearly clicked into Zachariah's ploy, I guess.
Well, yes, and that makes sense to me because older Dean is still Dean, and he has already been through the tricks that Zachariah has played on him, right? They did the alternate universe where he is, the big corporate bigwig guy, and Cass zapped him back in time. So he's old. Future Dean is still like, oh, angels like to play tricks, and it's always for a reason. It's always for a lesson or whatever. So I think he's like, because he also knows that Zachariah is going to take him back.
Yes.
Because Zachariah has given a younger Dean 3 days. He's like, you have 3 days, and then I'm going to bring you back. Older Dean knows this. So he says, they want you to see something, and I want you to see something, because I never said yes to Michael, and this is what happens when you don't say yes. So please, for the love of God, say yes.
Say yes to Michael. Yep. Everything you do in the past has to lead to you saying yes to Michael. Oi! And he even says, I'm begging. Like, I am begging you.
Yeah.
He's like, I know you won't say yes because you're Dean.
Yeah.
You're me.
Yeah.
But you have to say yes. You have to say yes. So,
and also that he has tried since to say yes, but since the angels have bailed, he's not getting any answer. Since then, he's been like, yes, please, I changed my mind, I will do it, but it's too late.
Yeah, it's like the angels have left.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah, bailed, like you said. Amazing, though, that the angels wouldn't take that opportunity.
Right.
It's like, no, they'd rather time travel somebody.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the gang is like packing up their trucks, getting ready to go on this mission to go find Lucifer. And I love that Chuck takes Dean aside, past Dean aside, and is giving him some tips. And he's like, listen, when you go back, make sure you hoard toilet paper.
Yes. Because it's worth more than gold.
It's worth more than gold. And he's like, seriously? And I'm like, holy shit, what the hell? How did they know? How did they know? That's so specific.
I know.
That is so specific. It's insane. I mean, that's just, it's like The Simpsons always, future telling. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Quickly back to the Dean scene. While he's explaining the plan or whatever. The original writing crew were it was going to be more involved with the time travel. I tend to get this way with time travel plot lines. It's, if they go back in time, that means it has already happened. It's like this one little loop, that just keeps going and going and going. Or in the future, well, regardless, they said, it was going to be future Dean had a scar on his chest from where the little girl slashed him with the thing, and it was going to be this whole explanation. They were really psyched about it, because I think Eric Kripke is one of those people that likes to get meticulous with the time travel. And they brought it to... I'm only mentioning this because it was very funny in the commentary. They showed it to Bob Singer, who was like, "What the hell is this? Like, what the hell are you talking about?"
No.
And then the team, Ben and Eric, had to draw a diagram. He's like, "No, this is how it works with the time thing."
Map it out.
And Bob's response was, "You gonna draw this for the audience?"
I was like, it's like trying to teach somebody a new board game, you know?
Yes.
It's like once you
Yes.
play it, you know it, but like trying to teach somebody how to play it,
Yes.
oh,
Yeah.
that's
And they
hysterical.
did have like 2 or 3 pages of dialogue of older Dean just trying to explain, like, I know how this goes because it's already happened to me. That thing that happened to you, well, blah, bleep, bloop, blah, bleep, blah. So then they said, okay, never mind. This is just an alternate universe thing.
Yes. Imagine how many good ideas are just like crumpled up and thrown
Oh
in the
my gosh, I
trash.
know. Or saved for later.
Yeah. I can't imagine being like all excited to go in and be like, we
Yes,
did,
we
look,
did
this is gonna be the yes, this is gonna be
it!
the and then just have one person be like, no, you don't
Yeah,
have enough gas in the car to go there.
nope.
So here's a dumb question. And it may not mean I don't know why I'm asking it, but I wondered why Chuck was left behind. I mean, I know he's not like this fighting guy, but why wasn't he part of the plan,
They added this scene very late just because they wanted more Chuck. Like this
Oh,
scene, this whole insert of him like asking for toilet paper or
yes.
saying like please hoard it was just because they needed a little bit of levity in the scene. They were gonna go a little bit more philosophical or theological about his prophecy status,
Yeah.
with the angels being gone but then
Yeah.
they decided to really just go for low-hanging fruit and say
A little
hoard
bit.
toilet paper because they
All right.
also recognize that Chuck is not a military man. Like he would not be out joining the mission. So,
Right.
he's
Right.
like,
But I
okay,
mean,
I'm here to guard the supplies. This is my
I will
job, and I'm here to
count
be funny.
count the cans of soup. Yep. Okay. Well, that was just one of those. I was like, why? Because not everybody who got in the trucks was like super fighting guy. I mean, Cass,
Yeah,
you know, barely sober.
right.
In fact, I don't think he was sober because it's now Dean and Cass riding in a car together off on this mission, and Cass is like got bottles of pills to like counteract the pills he took earlier, and
Absinthe. He was on absinthe earlier,
absinthe.
and so then he took amphetamines to help even him out.
Dean is
Oh
just like,
boy.
what is going on? But that's where we learned that Cass has really lost all of his angel mojo, and that
Mm-hmm.
he's for all intents and purposes mortal human. And Dean's like,
Mm-hmm.
welcome to the club. Cass is like, I don't like this club,
Yeah,
but
I had a better club.
yeah,
P.S.
like, but if this is going to be our end of days, then why not spend them like wine, women, and song?
Yeah,
Which I'm like, all right.
fair
It was
enough.
sad. It was a little sad though to see Cass so hopeless.
Yeah.
That was a little sad for me to see him so hopeless. Because even if he was like he wasn't happy go lucky, like, okay, fine, I'll just make the best of it.
Mm-hmm.
He was, self-medicating and, debauching himself essentially instead of
Yeah.
being true to his self.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of made me a little bit sad that he wasn't being true to his Cass character and that he just seemed so hopeless that's what it was.
Yeah.
Um, so they arrive at this, the team arrives at this sanatorium.
Sanatorium. Sanitarium sounds like a
Napkin.
sanitation. Yeah. But I
At
guess I
an,
don't really know. But
an asylum, I'm
an
assuming.
asylum. Yeah.
An asylum, because where else would you go to find Lucifer?
Yeah.
Than an asylum. They lay out the plan one more time that Lucifer is up on the upper floors and we're gonna head in and get Lucifer.
Yeah.
And Dean takes
everything's gonna be fine because no one will see us.
Right. And they're like, okay. But young Dean and Dean stand off to the side together, and Dean's like, what are you doing? This isn't right.
Yes, I can see that you're lying because I know my own face.
I know my face, yes. And the lie is, older Dean says, take a look around. Do you see any, croats? Were we approached by anybody? No. What does that mean? It's a trap. We were let in. But Dean's like, okay, fine, it's a trap, but you are now sending your friends into the front door to become like cannon fodder, essentially, and we're supposed to go in the back, while all your friends die. And older Dean is like, yes.
Yes, exactly. Which is like, whoa. this is maybe the first time. I mean, I understand how hard future Dean is and needs to be, based on the experiences or the life that he's had to leave for the past 5 years. But this made me go, this is not Dean.
Right. Sacrificing.
Dean would never sacrifice his friends. And younger Dean even says that. It's like, I would never sacrifice my friends. This would never be something that, we would do.
Right. Even to save the world.
Yes.
Even to save the world. Yeah, that was hard.
Yeah.
That was hard. Older Dean is like, well, sorry you feel that way.
Yeah.
And punches himself out. Yes.
My sole mission here is to kill the devil, and that's what they want. And I'm not going to let anybody stop me. Boop.
Boop. Punches Dean in the face, knocks him out. It was good hard punch. And so the one thing I thought of when that happened, I was like, why are you hitting yourself? Completely inappropriate, but that did pop into my mind.
Oh,
so younger Dean wakes up, face first on the ground, and hears gunfire off in the distance.
Yes, the battle has been ensuing for, I don't know, an amount of time. Enough when he gets up and goes, you can see the gunfire inside of the building through the window. You don't really see anybody around, like you don't see any dead bodies. No. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that would have been too much to see like a dead cast on the ground. But when he does go into the garden, he sees himself on the ground with a foot on his neck, and the foot belongs to
Sam.
Oh, Sam.
Who is dressed all in white.
Yeah.
So it's a white leather Italian shoe, I'm assuming, on the throat of Dean on the ground. Camera pans up past a white suit and Sam's beautiful face.
Yes.
And a very angelic looking, innocent looking face.
He's all cleaned up and beautiful here.
Yes.
So a note about this white suit. This was Sarah Gamble's idea that everything in the future, everyone is so grubby and gross and dirty that Sam as Lucifer should be dressed like Tom Ford. There was also a funny bit that she was supposed to be in that commentary, but she had jury duty, and they said that, they said she was wearing a Starfleet costume to get out of it, in hopes to get out of it. Which just makes me think of that scene from 30 Rock when Tina Fey goes dressed as Princess Leia.
God. That's brilliant.
It is.
But she still had to serve.
I don't know. I think she was in the going in person to be selected kind of stage. Yep. I don't know. But
oh God, that's funny.
I know. So it was. I like to think it's because Lucifer thinks he's so innocent that he would be dressed so purely white. Maybe it's also a nod to Morningstar, one of his many names. Or that he's so meticulous, he would never ever get blood on himself, so he dares to dress in a clean, bright white suit.
Yes. I mean, and look at what he had his foot on, Dean's throat. He wasn't touching him with his hands. He wasn't getting his hands dirty with it. The only thing I want to say though is that Jared does not look good in white.
I beg to differ. I love Jared in the white suit. I love this white suit.
Boy, I didn't.
I will say the men in this commentary, it's 3 men, they're all making fun of this suit. They're like, oh, this is Wayne Newton's suit. The first draft had sequins, and I'm like, no. Sarah knew what was up. Like, she knew to dress this man in a suit, regardless if he looks good in white or not. I do think that he looked good in white, but there's nothing, in my opinion, it's different for everybody. When a man cleans up in a nice, crisp suit, no matter what the color, it does something different to you, No,
absolutely. You see him in
flannel and combat boots every single day, and then he's just like, shoop. It's like,
I liked the suit. I don't like the color. I don't like. I just didn't think it was good for him. One of our supers on this last opera, he was the executioner for for the opera. So he literally was in leather pants and like chains and carried around a big axe. So he was shirtless, which is funny because after his costume fitting, he came to me. He's from Africa, and he says, Valerie, I am shirtless. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, no, I am shirtless. I was like, yeah, but you're like this sexy guy, you know? And he's like, oh, I have to tell my wife. So after the final performance, we had this, we have a cast party afterwards, and he changed out of his leather and chains and into this beautiful form-fitting suit. And it was like this beautiful maroon against his, beautiful dark skin. And it was like perfectly tailored to him. It was like a very modern cut, so the jacket was a little bit short,
like a slim cut.
Yes. And I was like, what, even going from like leather and chains to this, I was like, oh, Daniel, yes. Yes to the suit, yes to the suit. Good job. So I understand. I absolutely get it. I just didn't like the color of the white suit.
That's fine.
That's
but
all.
I was annoyed that the men are like, he wore that to his prom. Yeah. And I'm like, no.
No, it wasn't a powder blue suit.
This was not for you, gentlemen.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay, moving on from Sam in this gorgeous suit.
So Sam is Lucifer. Lucifer is Sam, which is terrible because Lucifer, as the devil, is the person who he's trying to garner sympathy. I'm the one who was wronged. I was cast out for loving God too much. Is it my fault that I couldn't? I mean, look at what you humans have done. God wanted me to love you over him, and look at what you've done. How can I love you over him? To this
beautiful place. Yes, the Earth was a beautiful planet, and you guys destroyed it. So why shouldn't I want to destroy you?
Exactly. And so, but again, it's all poor me. I'm the victim in all of this, and you can't blame me for wanting to, make it right again. The
men did make fun of their own writing here because they recorded this commentary halfway through the season. So probably episodes 10, 11, 12, around there. And they said, this is an annoying theme that we have accidentally come across, particularly in this season. You make your way to the big bad monster at the end, and what happens? A really long conversation. And this one is Lucifer telling his story when nobody asked for it.
Which is true.
It is, and I love that they can make fun of themselves for it.
And
I think it's after several episodes, because we will see more of this. Spoiler alert. They're like, oh, we need to try and not do this anymore.
Yes. Because again, it's like they literally the brakes just like stomp on the brakes, screech, exposition, and it's stuff we already know. We already learned. We know who Lucifer is. We learned Lucifer's backstory.
Yes, it's just that Dean doesn't know this backstory, and Sam didn't really know this backstory, or maybe he did. I honestly can't remember if Lucifer told it again when he met Sam in his dream, but it was important to get Dean in on this, like, sympathy for the devil crap, and in Dean's own words, even he says that, and Dean doesn't really fall for it.
Yeah. Well, because Dean's like, you just need to kill me now then, even though we skipped over this part, but that Lucifer had just killed older Dean, crushed his neck. So older Dean out of the picture. Younger Dean says, you might as well kill me now. And Lucifer's like, a little redundant since I just killed you. But clearly Lucifer is in on the gig too, because he knows about Zachariah. Because he says, no matter what you do, whether I kill you or not, we end up here. You end up here. Helpless in this little garden, watching me, basically walk away from you. And onto my mission. And I'm like, ouch, again, harsh. Poor young Dean has like all these like realities being thrown in his face. But yeah, you'll always end up here. See you in 5 years. And he starts to walk away. It's like, oh, so you are definitely right about this, the time loop.
And we see a single man tear fall from Dean's cheek, which the men call out even. He's like, call out the single man tear.
He's good at it.
He's very good at it.
He's very good at it. Exposition. Basically, Lucifer in Sam says, no matter what you do, no matter what your efforts are in the next 5 years, I still win.
Yeah.
This is still the outcome.
Yeah.
So you might as well.
And Sam Lucifer is like as cool as a cucumber during this whole thing. He's just very calm, matter of fact, just like, no, I'm sorry, but this is just how it is. He barely loses his cool just for a minute when he talks about how disgusted he is with humans, but not really. Like just a hint of losing his composure, but not a lot. No,
because he is just about to get everything that he wants.
Yeah.
And
he's
so
very much like Thanos here, or at least his reasoning. Like, I am inevitable, and just get rid of everybody, snap, you know?
Yep. But also a little bit lighter about it.
Yes.
You know, just yep, okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, he looks so angelic and peaceful and innocent, you know? As opposed to like your typical bad guy who is like, you shall bow down, you know, kneel before Zod. You know, there isn't any of that stuff. He's dressed in white. He looks fantastic, and he's very matter of fact.
Yeah. And
after he's like, see you in 5 years, lightning crashes and he's gone. Lucifer's gone, and Dean is left alone in the garden that they were just in outside of the sanatorium. And even the body of Dean isn't there anymore. And for a second, I thought, you know, they were back in time again. But
I did too. Like, he zapped him there, but just not in the hotel room, but in that same location. You know. Yes, it was. That was it's briefly confusing until Zachariah shows up and does like the 2-finger.
Tap on the forehead. Yes, zap me. Yeah, so Dean's like looking around in time, and then boof, there's Zachariah, taps him in the forehead, and boop, they're back in the motel in not 2014. Thank you. And basically, Zachariah's like, great, glad you're back. So all we need you to say, yes. Like, all we need you to do is say yes. Dean, still kind of rocked by this whole revelation, is like pacing around in the hotel room. And, you know, at the last second turns and looks at Zachariah and is like, nah.
Yeah.
Nah. Very Dean. You know, for a hot second, emotionally, you thought he would have bent.
Yes.
He could have been like...
I think, even knowing that I know he doesn't. You know,
yes.
It's like oh my God, he's gonna say yes.
He could have just, and how's he gonna get out of this? You know? Yeah.
But I think, and maybe it was mentioned in this monologue, again, very brief notes on my part here, but this could have easily been a trick from Zachariah. He has the ability to make you see what he wants you to see. So how do I know for sure that this is the future? Like, concretely, this is the future that it will be, and not just something you're using to convince me to join your cause. I can't know for sure that this is real. So,
but Zachariah's like, time for games is over though. Zachariah's like, done. I played the games with you and I didn't win. This is not a game anymore. Like, Zachariah has reached the point where I've tried over and over again to get through to you.
Yeah, he says that, but you still can't know. You still can't know for sure.
No, you're absolutely right. But he also pushes. He's like, you need to say yes to Michael before Lucifer gets to Sam. So he plays the brother card again. You know, it's not about you. It's about Sam. And Dean's like, nah, not doing it. Which I was like, yay. Yes. I did a little yay for Dean. Zachariah gets pissed that Dean is still showing defiance and is flippant about it. He's like, well, I know where you are now. He's like, I found you. I know where you are. And I hate it. He says, I know where you are, boy. And I hate that. I hate when men do that. Boy. And just as he goes to like reach in to like touch Dean, boop, Dean disappears.
Yeah.
And I love that we leave Zachariah is left alone in the hotel room, and he's looking around and he's like, son of so he ends up like channeling Dean in that moment, which is hysterical. Like, Dean has totally rubbed off on Zachariah. Son of and he doesn't get to say bitch, but nice little Deanism there. Zachariah left alone in the hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
Dean is poofed to the same street corner that Cass is still standing on.
Yeah.
Very calm.
Just like,
very Cass.
We had an appointment, so.
Yep. So let's do our thing.
Yep.
Now, Dean, of course, is like, well, hold that thought. First of all, he was very grateful for Cass. He was like, yes. Perfect timing, of course. Thank you for this. Mm-hmm. Cass is like, of course. Yes. But Dean says, hold that thought. I have to make a call. Mm-hmm. And he calls Sam.
Yes. And then the next morning, we see Dean in a field near a bridge.
My favorite bridge!
So Kirk is like, drinking game to how many times we've used this bridge. And Bob Singer said this is only the second time that they have used this particular bridge. Because
it was lower than the other ones, but yeah.
It's this, I think it's technically connected to the same bridge that they use a lot, because he says this one they used once at the end of season 1 or 2, he couldn't remember, but this leads into another bridge like over the river that they do in fact use all of the time.
A lot. Okay, because it look like it's the same, architecture, just lower. Yeah. It's just that beautiful black stark, I love it. Drinking game. Yeah, and so I love that Sam shows up because Dean is there leaning against Baby. Thankfully, Baby's all together again. Yay!
Yes.
Dean rolls up in this hoopty, giant gas guzzling hoopty, and they, face to face. Dean pulls out the demon blade, and it looks like he's gonna make Sam do a blood test or something, a cut you
like
test.
Hey, time to do our thing, just to
make sure you bleed red. And instead he hands over the blade handle first to Sam and says, if you want back in, you're going to have to, you should hold on to this. And chances
it was like a peace offering, it turned from I'm not sure I can trust
prove
you
yourself to me. Yes.
Never mind. I'm going to just go ahead and trust you.
Yes, and you should probably work on your hunter skills.
Yeah, to a jab, a brotherly jab.
Yes, exactly. But Dean, in doing this, says, I'm sorry, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Which is, again, what, wow. I said in the beginning that he doesn't say to Sam, I don't blame you. Mm-hmm. He doesn't say, I blame you, but he doesn't say, I don't blame you. Here he says, I'm wrong, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that's just amazing. Yeah. He said, even if we are each other's weaknesses, so be it. If they're going to use that against us, we are still better off together. Mm-hmm. We keep each other human.
Yes, that's the phrase. We keep each other human, and that's more important than anything else. I guess strength or, the ego, whatever it may be. Yep. He wants to go out their own way.
Yes.
It's like, we make our own future. Mm-hmm. And Sam is like, yes, because we have no choice. So there's this interesting dichotomy here of, we do it our own way, but,
but because we can't. Yeah, we're screwed. We have to do it our way.
Yeah.
Because they're forcing us to do it our way.
Yes.
This was another Dean-centric episode, so it was more obviously it was not only it's like one Sam and only a Sam
physically and story wise. Yeah.
So it was like a little bit of bookended by Sam in the beginning, Sam at the end, and all Dean and two Deans in the middle.
Yeah. They even said this was Jared's favorite episode since he only had to work one day.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. So at the end of this, I didn't like the way this ended just because it's like, it's not hopeless, but it's like the battle ahead of them is like going to be exhausting. I'm glad they're together. I like it when the brothers are together, obviously. Yeah. But I was like, I need a break from the apocalypse for a little bit.
Yeah.
So at the end of this episode, I'm like, I need a break from that storyline.
Yep.
It's only episode 4.
Yeah. Well, you will get it. The next episode is not really apocalyptic.
Very good. I was just like, I got to the end of that and I was like, because I know that Supernatural does this. They pepper in standalone episodes away from the storyline. I was like, I just need a break for a hot minute.
Yeah, and it has been this is episode 4, and it's already like, boom, boom, boom. It's been relentless. With how much apocalypse they're slamming into our faces. Yeah, the guy said something earlier. I just didn't want to interrupt, but the original ending, when he found Sam, would have been Sam living with a family, maybe his family. I got kind of confused in there, talking over each other, in a cabin in the woods, like he had escaped hunting. But that was because originally they were going to save the vessel plot line for much later. That was going to be like a surprise later on down the road. And they said, you know what? They're going to figure it out anyway, the audience. So let's just give it to him early.
Just do it.
Yeah, so let's just do it in episode 3. And then this way now we can be like, oh, the vessel thing has now happened, and it makes the future a much more scary place, which thank God they did that,
Yeah.
Because that is generally what they do with the surprises. They wait until much later, which is effective, but it's equally as effective when they just say, boom, here it is.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And it gets you like, oh, wasn't expecting that. I mean, it's like when they kill off a main character,
Yes.
you're like, oh, no, they were supposed to get better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, a great episode. This was such a meaty.
I love this episode.
I did have a question though. This is my question, and I'm sorry. Dean and Cass standing on the street corner. Cass booped Dean to him.
Yes.
I know that Cass knew where Dean was because he told him on the phone, I'm at this hotel. How did he know, like, when he was back in time to get him? You know what I mean? And then wasn't Cass...
it was just coincidence, to be honest. Because, Dean just says, like, come get me in the morning. I just need some sleep. Yeah. So it must have been the morning. And was it? Like, or was it at night?
It was like 4:15 in the morning is what the clock has been saying off and on. I don't know what time it was when they came back, but when
Cass
Dean
came back, okay.
Yeah, when
because
it
was kind of dark out still when Cass was standing they were both standing in the road. It was still kind of dark out.
Yeah. So I'm assuming, I don't know what to assume. I'm surprised because I thought Cass was going to come to Dean at the beginning of the episode.
I think maybe he did. He did come. It was like a really fast angel magic thing. Like, oh, I'm here.
Got him.
Let's go. Yeah. Like
Gotcha. So he swooped in, grabbed Dean, and brought him to the street corner.
Yes.
Okay, that I can buy.
Yes.
But just like him going like this didn't make sense to me.
No. But as far as the timing, I don't know. Maybe he can sense through angel radio where Zachariah is, although I feel like Zachariah would have the power to hide his whereabouts, turn off the location.
The angel GPS.
Angel GPS. So maybe it was just Dean saying, just come get me in a few hours, and then it just happened to be a few hours, and thankfully it was the right time.
Got it.
Who knows? But I do think that Cass did show up there, and it was just so fast. It was too fast for human eyes to see. So
yeah. I get it. But it took me, it was like after the episode ended, I did one of those, wait.
My question is, which I didn't even think about until we were speaking, is Dean had to go back to get the car, which would have been near the hotel. So wouldn't Zachariah have then gleaned onto him then? Like, couldn't he have just stood by the car and just waited for Dean to come back? Because even if Cass were to zap him to the car... Unless Cass could zap the car. I don't know if they can do that with inanimate objects. I assume they can because they're angels. Their power is probably pretty hefty.
Substantial, yeah. I don't know. I think maybe just getting Dean out of that circumstance, was just because, again, just because the car is there doesn't mean that Zachariah can sense or find Dean. So yes, he could have waited there knowing that Dean was going to come back to the car.
Yes, that's what I mean. It's like, well, he's got to come back for this baby. I know that he's not going to leave the car behind.
Good point.
If I were Zachariah, that's what I would have done. But I am not Zachariah.
Maybe.
Said, fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, and maybe baby was parked in a different lot and he didn't see the car.
Maybe.
Oh my God. That's why we shouldn't really analyze any of these shows because then he's got to find his car keys and then if you've ruined this entire episode for me, Sammy.
I'm sorry.
It's a great episode until I started thinking about, but what about baby? How does baby feel about, in the future being abandoned in that field and stripped, and what went on to let Dean let baby get in that condition?
Yes.
I mean,
or as the crew said, what about all the people whose cars get stolen from them, from the boys? They said, we want just an episode with all of the cars, all the people who have had their cars stolen by the Winchesters.
Right? That'd be awesome. So, all right. Well, we did it.
Woo! We did it.
So you mentioned,
loved it.
You said the next one is not apocalyptic. What's the next one?
Not really, no. And I watched it just because I was folding laundry while I was watching this one and decided to let it go. Fallen Idols. And there was a big, huge, unexpected guest star in this one.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
Yes. It's fun and also, well, I'll save my thoughts for when we do it.
Okay, thank you. We're finished here, Sammy.
We
Don't
are
start a new one.
I know. Okay, so with that being said, we'll sign off on this one. Thank you so much for listening to us. As always, you can find us anywhere you can find podcasts. Please download the episode, share the episode, rate us wherever you can rate podcasts, especially the Apple platform. You can also find us on social media. We are at Salt and Burn This everywhere, and you can follow us there. We're on YouTube. Subscribe to us there. I mean, we're everywhere and unavoidable. So, yes.
Yes. So there's really no excuse for you to not interact with us. So go ahead, leave us a message, give us a thumbs up. I respond to almost every message. Some I deem not respondable.
That is totally fair.
Yes.
That is totally fair. Thank you so much again for listening to us, and we will see you next week for Fallen Idols. Bye.
Bye.